Greetings, my friends, and welcome to the webinar, 5 Insights into Self-Healing. In this webinar, you are going to learn how to heal real illness, real diagnosed illnesses without medicines or supplements, using behavior as medicine. I'm Charley Cropley. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I've been practicing naturopathic medicine for 40 years now in Boulder, Colorado. I began as a primary care physician using natural, non-harmful naturopathic therapies. And over the years, I gradually grew more and more into teaching people how to heal themselves, and to heal themselves by healing their behaviors or through their behaviors. That's going to be our topic today. So let me give you an overview of what we're doing here. The 5 insights we're going to discuss today are this. The first one is that illness is wise. Our body wants to heal. The second insight: there are 4 actions that we do every day that are destroying our health. The third insight is power with versus power over. The fourth insight is the 3 universal medicines. And the fifth and final insight is mindful awareness, moving closer to our discomfort. Okay. Our mission here, our purpose in this, is for you to heal what you really want to heal real disease, or to markedly grow your health in your body, in your mind, in your relationships, to become a healthier and happier person. Okay, so let's begin with our first insight. Illness is wise. Our body wants to heal. Now, let me give you an example. If you take a hangover, human beings have been looking for as long as there have been human beings for how to cure hangovers. Hangovers are not curable. And why? Because hangovers are the cure. What are hangovers a cure for? Obviously, for the excessive consumption of alcohol. Our body, a hangover, is our body's means of healing herself, and the way in which our body speaks to us, literally speaks to us, saying, hey, this alcohol is not working. Okay, so in naturopathic medicine, we have a model. It is called the model of toxemia. A model enables us to organize facts and to give them meaning. So this is the model of how our body becomes ill and how our body heals. The term toxemia is an old one from back, probably in the 1800s, certainly in the 1800s. And it refers to the poisoning of the blood. So toxemia shows us that through our behaviors, for example, through our eating, when we take in food, if we're taking in wholesome foods or we're taking in poisons, after the blood absorbs all the digested products from our intestines, and that blood goes through the liver and then is pumped by the heart throughout our body. That blood is changed by the way we eat. Either it is becoming healthier or it is becoming more toxic. depending on the way we eat. The same is through being under excessive stress. Our body goes into a stress metabolism, and the exogenous poisons or the endogenous poisons of stress begin to build up in our body. We have environmental poisons from the air, from the water, from myriad places that are coming into our body. These reach the blood, and what happens is this: as the blood becomes more toxic and more scarce in nutrients, the blood feeds, it's the river of life, where every cell in our body and every tissue in our body is fed and cleansed by this river of life, by the bloodstream. And as that river becomes polluted, then what happens is the cells that depend on this for their life and for their nourishment and for the removal of their poisons, the cells themselves become poisoned. And the body, in an effort to preserve the health of the cells and keep them from getting sick and dying, has a remarkable mechanism, a wise, beneficial mechanism by which it gets rid of poisons and allows us rest to regain energy. And that mechanism is getting sick. It is acute illnesses. And there are two types of illnesses. One type is acute. Acute is a self-limiting illness that is short-lived, such as a cold, a flu, a bronchitis, a bladder infection, diarrhea, a fever. And a chronic illness is one that does not go away. It is one in which it is with us all the time. So rheumatoid arthritis, MS, ulcerative colitis, other such illnesses are examples of chronic illnesses. Okay, there is a relationship between acute illnesses and chronic illnesses. Acute illness, right, is the body's effort to rid itself of poisons and to rest itself. If that's understood, we then would look at our lives and say, my dear friend, my body, what are you trying to tell me here? And see what the message is of the body about how we are poisoning her, how we are weakening her vitality. And however, the conventional medical approach is to view illness as an enemy and seek to use power over and to suppress that illness, to force the symptoms to go away. Use medications or surgery or radiation or whatever suppressive treatments. If you succeed in suppressing an illness, and let's say the illness might be like a hangover, or let's say it's not a hangover, let's say it's a little more complex and it's a fever with a cold, and you suppress that, then the ways in which you are poisoning and weakening your system remain in play, right? You continue to do these things, plus you add in the poison of acetaminophen or ibuprofen or whatever it is that you use to suppress these symptoms. What happens is that your body becomes more poisoned, and the poison levels build up, and the vitality of the body weakens because we do not get the rest that we need. And what happens then over time is that this illness becomes a chronic illness, one that we have with us all the time, such as I have mentioned before. The other result of suppression is that if you suppress, let's say you suppress a bronchitis, the body still needs to purify herself and rest herself. And so she gets sick often in another way. So you may then develop a diarrhea. And if you suppress the diarrhea, you then may find yourself with skin problems. And the body is always working and using whatever forms of illness to heal herself. So Illness then is the language of our body. In A Course in Self-Healing, which this presentation is a microcosm of the Course in Self-Healing. In A Course in Self-Healing, this is taught through a 40-minute video and then assignments that teach this to you in more detail and have you look into your own life and see how your body has been speaking to you and how you have been ignoring or suppressing that, and how this then has led to the state of health or the chronic illness that you are presently experiencing. Okay, now, we have a physical body, as we know. We also have an emotional body, our heart center. We also have a mental body, our mind. And we have a social body. We could say we have a social body, which we experience through our physical, our mental, and our emotional bodies. In naturopathic medicine and in the model of toxemia, we understand that each of these bodies is innately self-healing. And I want to explain the word innate is a skill that is natural, that you do not have to learn. You have an innate wisdom. Yes, and the body is possessed of an innate wisdom to self-heal, and illness is a part of that. So our physical body is self-healing, right? You burn it, it heals. Our mental body is self-healing. Our self-criticism in our mental body, for example, is self-healing if we know how to work with it, just like knowing how to work with the physical body. Our emotional body is self-healing. Anxiety, sadness, depression are all messengers to us, benevolent messengers calling for our attention. And our social body as well is innately self-healing. The misunderstandings, the difficulties that arise are all meant to be feedback to us to examine ourselves and to learn how we're bringing this about. So the question that we have then is, if we're self-healing, why are we sick? This will bring us to our next insight. And I want to do a process with you before we go on to our next insight and ask you to consider, what is it like for you living with your body? What's your experience of living in your body? Is it painful? Is it produce anxiety, worry in you, even fear? Is living in your body a joyful experience or a difficult experience? Is it disappointing? Is it sad? On the other hand, is your experience of living in your body, does it bring you gratitude, real thankfulness? Does it bring you happiness? Do you feel more alive living in your body? Okay, now the next question that I will ask you is, what do you think it might be like for your body living with you? Just ponder that for a minute and consider that your body is the peak of evolution on this earth, the most wise instrument ever created, and that your body knows how to make eyeballs, a heart, to reproduce itself, warm, cool, defend itself, and Do you think that this wisdom does not know how to communicate with you? It is communicating with you constantly. Each body, your physical body, your emotional body, and your mental body. And in the course teaches you to befriend your bodies and to learn to listen to them. So let's move to our next insight, answering the question, why are we sick? What is the message that our body is giving us? And the third insight is that we are engaged in what are the actions that we're engaged in every day that are destroying our health? And those actions are 4 behaviors. And the 4 behaviors are eating, movement, thinking, and relating. And through each of those behaviors, our behaviors determine our health. Our behaviors determine our level of toxicity or our level of purity, our level of health and happiness are inextricably linked to our behaviors in the same way as the health of a plant is dependent upon water, air, sunlight, and earth. Each of these behaviors is absolutely essential to us. And these behaviors are a synergistic, integrated whole, each one influencing the other one, and they make up a wheel. And as a balanced wheel moves smoothly, so an imbalanced wheel doesn't function well as a wheel. And if we are harming ourselves in one of these behaviors, we can compensate to some degree with another behavior, but think of it. If you're not getting enough sleep, right, how do you really compensate for that? If you're eating poorly, can you compensate for that with exercise? Of course, to some degree, but each one is absolutely vital and contributes to the whole. Now let's talk a little about each of them. The skillfulness of eating. In A Course in Self-Healing, I do not instruct you in specifically what to eat. That's another entire course in itself. However, to give you an idea of the art and science that each of these behaviors is, in eating, consider your relationship to different foods. What is your relationship to wine, to coffee, your relationship to sweets, to use 3 common examples? Do you experience craving there? Because those definitely can lead to craving. And do you know how to work with craving and how to heal the cravings in the area of eating? What is our relationship to hunger? Are we able to feel our hunger and understand what gives rise to our hunger and distinguish actual physical hunger and a genuine appetite? Distinguish that from emotional hunger, social hunger, right? Are we eating because we're anxious, because we're nervous and apprehensive? So our relationship to eating is vast. And you could ask, do you understand what is an appropriate eating regimen for your own self, for your own body? Do you know how to determine that by listening to your body? Do you know Do you know how to discover, and have you discovered the foods that you are sensitive or that you're allergic to? And have you eliminated those from your eating? Do you know the power of fasting? Perhaps the most powerful self-healing tool I know of, perhaps. Do you know how to fast? These are examples of skillful behavior in eating. Next, let's look at movement. Movement is movement. I encourage a daily workout to everyone, that you spend time loving your body through movement. And movement may be walking on a stair stepper. It may be biking. It may be doing an aerobics class. It may be training in the gym. It may be swimming. It may be doing yoga or Pilates, Tai Chi. There's any number of forms of movement. Central to movement, or in movement, look at what the purpose is and see if you are bringing this into your movement. Do you know how to cultivate strength? And to cultivate strength wherever you want strength in your body. Do you know how to build endurance, flexibility, balance, and poise? All of these come from you. You bring these into your body. You are the source of these. And through movement, you give yourself the gift of strength, flexibility, endurance, and poise. Now, in moving, perhaps there are two core skills that we emphasize in A Course in Self-Healing. One of those skills is breathing. Breathing, I will give you an experience of. And I think this is probably a good time to do that, but I'll speak of the other. The other skill in movement that is core to movement is that of posture, of poise. Right? So you learn to integrate breathing and posture into all your movements. It's said in yoga that yoga is doing the exact same thing, in this case, breathing and posture, in 1,000 different positions. In 1,000 different positions, you become functional and poised and inhabit your body with the same posture, whether you're twisting, bending, extending, whatever you're doing. Okay, so let's look at this and also give you a sense of, I use breathing strongly in the healing of anxiety. I'm going to show you a taste of this right now. We're just going to do some short breathing here, and some short posture. So wherever you are right now, notice your breath. Just become aware of your breath. And I'm going to move right through this process. We're not going to take a lot of time in it. Noticing your breath. Watch your breathing. And the next time, I'm going to explain this to you first and then lead you through it. I'm going to ask you on an exhalation to leave your breath out. And to leave your breath out until you have built up from a count of 1 to 10 to maybe a 7, where you're feeling the intensity that builds in you, something like an anxiety that builds in you by leaving your breath out. And then when you're at about a level 7, you will breathe in, and in breathing in, you will hold your breath in, and again, hold it in to about a count level of 7, maybe even 8 if you want to. And then you will exhale and breathe 3 normal breaths. And we'll do that 3 times. We'll do that 3 times and watch your experience. So now, on your next exhalation, exhale all your breath and leave your breath out. Watch the intensity. Your body is speaking to you, right? Your body is speaking to you. When you're ready, you take a deep breath in and hold it in. And again, be present in your body. Watch what's happening in your body. Feel completely the language of your body. And when you have held your breath for enough time, for level 7 or 7, then exhale and allow your body to breathe however she wants to breathe for 3 breaths. Then you are going to repeat that cycle. You will, at the end of your 3rd breath, leave your breath out and leave it out for a count of 7. Watching yourself, right? Being attentive. Why we're doing this is an act of self-love, of kindness, of self-healing. Be present with yourself. Feel your body. Want her to feel your love, that you're doing this for her. So you continue wherever you are in the cycle here. If you're inhaling, holding your breath, same. Open your body, relax your body, allow yourself to feel what's happening. And this is generally has an intensity to it, right? And then you're taking 3 breaths, allowing your body to breathe however she wants to, saying to her, I love you. This is for you. And then whenever you go through your 3rd cycle of leaving your breath out till it reaches an intensity. And this, you can note, this is phenomenal for anxiety. I have used this with patients who have called me saying, I'm in the midst of a panic attack. I just called you, I need help. And been able to allay that panic attack in a matter of minutes with a breathing process similar to this. Okay, when you have completed and you're breathing your last 3 breaths, letting your body do that, then close your eyes, relax your body, and feel the language of your body. Experience the seeds, or rather the fruit of the seeds that you have planted in your body. Feel your body's love coming back to you as you have given her love. And feel how that feels. And feel your emotional body. Feel your emotional body. Notice the clarity that goes with this, the calm that comes with this. Feel your energy. Okay. Good. Let's go on and talk about the other 2 behaviors. And I will say, if you're liking this, there is an opportunity for you to click a like or a heart or say so, or to communicate with us and say, hey, this is cool. And so let us know about that. Now, the other 2 behaviors are thinking and relating. And we're speaking now of the sophistication, the power, the art that is in every one of these behaviors. These are the greatest arts of your life. These are the means by which we build and create a healthy, happy human being. This is how it comes about, through our behavior. So thinking, consider the art that thinking is. Your self-dialogue, how we speak to ourselves inside. Do I speak to myself with kindness? Am I encouraging? Is my voice and my tone of that of a caring parent, or of bad babysitters? I don't know, something like that. Further, in our thinking, what is it that we desire, and what is it that we fear? You listen to your mind and ask yourself, what do you desire? What is it that you desire in your physical body? What is the experience you want to have in your emotional body and in your mind and your social bodies? What is it that you desire as far as money, career, sex go? And conversely, what is it that you fear? Do you know those about yourself? Do you explore those? Because it is our desire and our fear that gives meaning to our life. That is the definition of meaning. This is what I truly want, what really means something to me. And this is something that I do not want, and that it means a great deal to me to avoid. This is what I fear. In our emotions, in our emotional body, do we experience gratitude? Do we experience happiness fundamentally in some form? Gratitude, joy. Do we experience ongoing anxiety, depression, right? Anger, sadness? What is the quality of our emotional body? For most of us, we're afflicted by anxiety and the nameless dreads. And the course is very, very much about how to heal our mind and our emotional bodies, our self-talk, and the anxiety that we experience. And the fourth behavior is that of relating. Relating is, I think, the ultimate skill, because that is where our caring for ourselves, we extend to others. And if we have not learned how to care for ourselves, then we're not able to benefit others to any greater degree than we know how to benefit ourselves. So in relating, do we know how to understand another person? Do we know the power of understanding in relationship? To be able, when we're in a state of misunderstanding or conflict or disagreement with another person, to come to them and say, I want to heal this, and I care about our relationship, and I want to understand your side of this. Please tell me that. And then, do you know how to do that? Do you know how to find and express your own authentic truth in relationship? Because relationship is being able to give and receive love, and being able to understand and to be understood. Okay, so let's go to our next question then that we leave our behaviors with, is this question: how do we heal our behavior? This is perhaps the most challenging, confrontive question that we face. And it makes me squirm regularly. That is, how do I and will I, how do I heal my cravings, my addictions, my ways of speaking to myself internally, the emotions that come to me constantly? This is our essential question. How do we stop harming ourselves? And how do we do the good for ourselves that our very health and happiness and relationships depend on? This is what's called the sine qua non. Without answering this, if we do not know how to skillfully change our behavior, then really this webinar doesn't have, we may as well go no further. Okay, so let's then look at how do we do this. One way of doing this is that of power over. Our third insight is power with versus power over. And the medical way of controlling illness is obviously one of power over, right? Of drugging, medicating, suppressing, cutting out, treating as an enemy, power over, being hostile to, wanting to control, suppress. That's power over. Similarly, when we come to our behaviors and the challenge of healing our behaviors, do we attempt to bring about better behavior and to stop self-harming behavior by criticizing ourselves, judging ourselves, blaming ourselves, shaming ourselves, threatening ourselves? All these are forms of power over. And power over brings about the result that each of us knows in human beings. That is, if someone is trying to dominate us and force us to do what they want us to do, we do one of two things. Either we become angry and give them back a dose of the same thing, do what it takes to force them to leave us alone and to cut it out. And the other is that we go into fear and we submit, right? But either of those is not a healthy relationship. So power over, it has its place, definitely has its place. There's a time for medicine, there's a time for surgery, right? There's a time for, I'll say there's a place for police and the military, a true, real, honest, necessary place for that. But if that's the only tool in our toolbox, then we face challenges, right? Then the result. So I want to tell you a story about power over. It's what I call the Booby Prize. And the Booby Prize is this. I used to talk to my wife about it. It was, we would be in an argument, and wanting somebody to do, let's say I want my wife to do what I want her to do, right? Whatever it is. And I'm trying to get her to do this or to stop doing this. And she would look at me and say, I think you're going for the Booby Prize here. The Booby Prize is that she would give me what I want, that she would do or stop doing what it is that I want. That's the Booby Prize. It's the Booby Prize because I may gain what I'm after short term, but I reinforce my belief in and my reliance upon power over. I come to believe that being mean, being harsh, being short, being critical, right? I come to believe in that, and I'm deeper in that. So with ourselves personally, if we're trying to change our eating, if we're trying to get ourselves to work out, the point here is that's actually the Booby Prize. We may get some short-term gains, but if what we do is to strengthen the power of criticism, judgment, right, and guilt in ourselves, then we are really undermining ourselves by putting ourselves into a state of chronic stress that manifests in our metabolism. Okay, what is the next option for us instead of power over, or in addition to the caring, intelligent use of power over? We have power with, right? Power with is what we're talking about with our illness and talking about with our behavior. That we change our illness and we change our behavior by using power with. Beginning with the illness itself. Power over looks at illness as an enemy, something to be suppressed and destroyed, forced. Power with is a different relationship with illness. It is the one that we spoke of in toxemia, understanding our illness as a benevolent messenger speaking to us. And then the illness gives meaning to our lives because it gives meaning to our behavior, to the way that we live. It's asking us to grow into and care for ourselves in better ways. And power with is the power of the model that I like is of a kind, loving parent, whether in relationship to our illness or to our own behavior, to our self-critic, to our cravings for sweets. Can we befriend ourselves? And like a loving parent, really be able to say to ourselves, this is how healing happens, be able to say to ourselves, I want you to feel my love for you. I want you to know that whether you stop eating sweets or don't stop eating sweets, whether your diabetes grows worse or grows better, that I'm going to love you, befriend you, and be kind to you. And in whatever moment you turn to me, I will help you. And can you imagine, and this is an exercise that I give to students in a course in self-healing. Can you imagine applying that kindness, that parental kindness to yourself while you are engaged in the self-harming behavior, while you are overeating, while you are laying on the couch rather than going for a workout, while you are criticizing yourself. That's the real healing process that you will learn power with. Being a kind, wise parent to yourself. And being kind here, like a parent, does not mean that you condone your self-harming behaviors. But you are not attempting to suppress them, and you don't withdraw your love because of those behaviors. Rather, like a child, you instruct yourself in making the difficult changes, the truly difficult changes, perhaps that you've never been able to make in your life. This is the work of A Course in Self-Healing. This is what you learn, is that it is you yourself who heals you. Okay. This leads to our next insight, which is there are 3 universal medicines. These medicines are compassion, truthfulness, and community or relationship. And these medicines, I ask my patients regularly, and must repeat this time and again. I ask them, what is your strategy for overcoming your addiction to sweets? What is your strategy for dealing with your self-critic? And most people aren't aware of a strategy. I don't know, I'll try harder to stop overeating. The most basic strategy seems to be that I'll try harder. And then unconsciously, there is often the script of power over and of trying to force ourselves to change, such as we just spoke about. And what A Course in Self-Healing teaches is that the strategy by which you heal anything is that of using kindness, using truthfulness, and using community. So let's look at each of these. So let's start with kindness. Now, kindness is a word. I like the word loving kindness. Kindness is love. Kindness is compassion. Kindness is caring. Our kindness is innate, and our kindness is never not with us. Now, to give you an experience of this, consider what is the motivation that brings you to listen to this webinar now. Is it not that you are hoping to learn something that will make you happier, that will prove valuable to your health? You are here and doing this, attending this seminar, because you care about yourself. Further, if you smoke a cigarette, you smoke a cigarette as an act of caring, albeit a short-sighted act of caring, perhaps. Meaning You are trying to relieve yourself of the anxiety, the tension, that feeling that builds up when you are used to smoking and you haven't had a cigarette. You're caring for yourself, right? Okay. So the same thing applies to criticizing ourselves. We will see that our criticism is a dysfunctional and habitual way of getting ourselves to do what we want to do, what would be beneficial to us, and to stop doing what harms us. So our kindness is innate. We need kindness like we need air and water and sunlight. It's absolutely essential to us. Without kindness, we become deformed. Kindness is the power. It is the very root of healing, where health comes from. It is kindness that is the power to do the workout that is great for your body. That's kindness, right? That is loving yourself. It is truly intelligent. And when you can't, again, when you can't get yourself to work out, the universal strategy that we teach in A Course in Self-Healing is befriending yourself, is being kind to yourself, like a parent to a child. I love you. I want you to have this gift, just as you would want a child to grow up caring for her body. Your kindness is the very source of this. And you bring about healing behavior by being kind to yourself. Okay. Thank you. I was just getting a reminder that we have 10 minutes here. So here is another work that we do in A Course in Self-Healing. And it is called Checkins. And a check-in is, in this moment, check in with yourself and just ask yourself what are 3 words or 3 phrases that describe how I'm doing right now. So in my case, my feet hurt. My feet hurt. I am inspired and super on point. You can look for yourself for what's going on with you. And further, you will be taught to do check-ins, an act of kindness, an act of compassion, wanting to know how you are. A check-in with your physical body, with your emotional body, and with your mental body. How am I talking to myself? What am I experiencing? How am I feeling emotionally? And what's going on in my body? Okay, so I will tell you, one of my patients who has PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, came to me, and at the end of our work together, at our completion meeting, when she had made marked improvements in all her symptoms, she said that what is most powerful for her, and what it is that she is intent on keeping for herself, is the practice of doing check-ins, that it completely changes her day to experience that loving interaction with herself. Okay, the next medicine is truthfulness. Truthfulness also is understanding. Truthfulness is wisdom. I said that ignorance in naturopathic medicine, ignorance is the root cause of illness. Ignorance can only be of one thing, the truth. And what is the truth that we want to know? We want to know our own truth, what's going on for us. And again, we are endowed, innately endowed with a sense of what is true, what is not true, what is beneficial, what is not beneficial, what is kind, what is not kind. We all have a sense of that. That is wisdom, that is knowing. Without that guidance, how could we possibly, right? How could we possibly hope to care for ourselves and heal ourselves? So being truthful is being able to explore and to find out, why do I criticize myself? Why do I drink so much wine? To answer those questions, to be able to explore those with yourself and find real answers, is the work of truthfulness. Speaking of truthfulness, is also understanding. Do we understand do we understand our own desires? Because all of us desire what is harmful to us. That's an aspect of us, right? That is a root of sickness, desiring what's bad for you. And we also fear or dislike or are averse to what is good for us. Exercise, eating better, so on. And we want to understand that principle and understand what we are desiring and what it is that we are fearing. Do we understand what we believe? For example, most of us or many of us believe that we cannot heal our illness, or we cannot heal certain faults, that we can't do that. We don't have faith. We don't have confidence in ourselves. Many people believe or are ignorant that their behavior causes their illness, and then do not understand what constitutes healthy behavior, and then do not understand how to change their behavior. You can see every one of these is what we're addressing in the course. So our third medicine then is that of community. And there's a saying that it's from the movie Moulin Rouge, and I love it. And it says, the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Community is the work of kindness and the work of truthfulness extended in the community, exchanging our own kindness, giving and receiving kindness with other people, learning to understand other people and to be understood by them. This builds community, connection, relationship. So community, again, is an absolute need. We yearn for community, to be understood and to understand others, to love and to be loved. It's a yearning, it's an absolute need for us. And there is a saying that she who hides her illness can never be healed. So in the course, we're encouraged in each, as we study these insights, to talk with other people about these insights. And by sharing what is meaningful to us, what we're excited about with other people, then they understand our love of healing and what has meaning for us. And we build relationships along this. Relationships consist of, first and foremost, a relationship with a teacher. And if we're talking about health, a person capable of teaching you how to heal yourself. The first relationship is with a teacher, a mentor, someone who guides you by example. And then there are other relationships in which we are supported and in which we're held accountable for doing the good that we want to do. Those honest, caring relationships are gems, and we learn how to build such relationships for ourselves. Last insight is mindfulness, moving closer to discomfort. Mindfulness is, again, being mindful is innate. We instinctually want to, like if you burn your finger, you're like this. You like, what do I do with this? You want to care for it. Medicine and power over diminishes our natural desire to inhabit our body and to pay attention to ourselves and to move closer to our illness and to our discomfort. In self-healing, we learn to breathe and to be present with our pain, with our discomfort, with our illness, with our anxiety, with our painful shoulder. How to come closer, pay attention, bring our kindness, and to learn how to care for our own selves. So it is the work of not abandoning ourselves. Okay, so that then completes our 5 insights for today. And I will, again, those insights are, first of all, that illness is wise. Your body wants to heal. The second insight is that there are 4 behaviors by which you heal or by which you harm yourself. The third insight is power with versus power over. The fourth insight is there are 3 universal medicines by which you are able to heal any illness and affliction. And the 5th and final insight is, excuse me, I want to correct the 4th one. I'm not saying that, I'm not guaranteeing at all that you will cure cancer, cure MS. I'm not guaranteeing that. What I am guaranteeing is that this is the process by which that happens, and that you can unfailingly rely on that you will experience marked improvements to the degrees that you engage this. I just want to correct, I'm not saying that we cure anything here. The last insight is that of mindfulness and moving towards your discomfort. That completes our webinar. In closing, we're going to have some announcements, and I want to say to you that these teachings I live myself, and I've taught these to thousands of patients. My hope in our time together here is that you will find for yourself the healing and the happiness that I experience myself, and may we all experience this. So thank you so much. Now, Kari is going to make some announcements here in closing.
Right. Charlie, thank you so much for sharing with all of us just all the insights and wisdom that you have. You've been such an honor and such a pleasure to work with. And thank all of you for participating and joining us and, diving into this really fabulous work. We have an amazing course coming up on September 23rd. It's a course in self-healing, and this, like Charlie said, is just kind of touching on what's going to be in this. It's an 8-week online interactive course, and so as far as that goes, the first 25 people that sign up today will actually get a free 20-minute call with Charlie during the course. So if you're interested, definitely what you can do is in the comments section below, you can click write a comment and just put recap. I think that's all good too. Or either that, or we will have a link attached to the bottom of this that you'll click on. You have to put recap in. And then there's this automated thing that will send you information. And you can also go visit our website at charleycropley.com. There should be a link below that you can click on as well to go there if you do want to register for the course. And with the recap, you'll get a replay of these 5 insights as well as a PDF. And I think we'll have a better copy. I heard the video was not so good, so we recorded this in 2 different ways, so that the recap will have a much better visual. And we're going to open things up for a Q&A. So if you do have a question, if you want to ask Dr. Cropley something, please type in the comments section. And let's see here. Have a lot of stuff. We've never done this before, so this is this is a first. Usually we do things on Zoom so that we can let people speak. So just excuse me while I look here, and I'm gonna have Charley come back up, and let's see if we can figure out how to answer some questions while we're reading. So come on over, Charley.
And I want to add something here. For the first 25 people who sign up for the course, I'm going to offer you a free consultation with me, a personal consultation to guide you in whatever ways you personally desire to be guided amid the course. So we will schedule that time together and be able to give you a personal consultation. So that's for first 25 people that sign up for the course today.